my garlic in the ground. I'm a bit late, simply because we're in a pandemic and the kids are home, and this is our front yard and we don't have a fence along here, so Nathan's looking after the kids. Hopefully they don't interrupt us, but we'll see how we go. Okay, the moment of truth. So I've got two varieties here. I've got these big ones, the Glen Large. They did really well in our climate last year. These ones are the Italian Pink, and they struggled a little bit, but I'm going to give them another go. I have found that, because I did actually have 3 bulbs saved, but one completely rotted, and it feels like this one has 2, so we'll see. So I'm gonna experiment. I'm gonna do half. I'm gonna soak overnight in sea salt solution and plant out, and the other half I'm just gonna get in the ground straight away. So let's see how we go. Okay, so I ended up with only 20 of the Italian Pink, so I've put 10 in there, and I had 50 of the Glen Large, so I put 25 in there, and then I'm going to plant the rest. So this is my little spot. So this is our front mandala garden. So this area has been sort of sitting, waiting for garlic. It's just been too hot over summer, so we just pretty much shut this garden bed down until probably a month ago. So this is a month of tromboncino and cucumber, and also our glass gem corn behind it. But this little quarter here will be our garlic. So basically what we've done to prep this bed is lots of horse poo. So we put horse poo in January. It's now the end of March. We also let our chickens turn it over a little bit. We had a green manure crop in here, and we've also been burying all our fish guts underneath. Whenever we harvest from the aquaponics, we've been putting all of the frames under here, so I'm hoping that it's prepped well enough for a really good bumper garlic crop. So for my experiment, I'm going to do half of the sea salt on this side, the sea salt soaked garlics, and the other side will be the non-sea salt soaked garlic. So I'll put all my Glen Large at the front and the Italian Pink at the back, because I've only got half the amount and it's sort of a smaller area, and we'll see how we go. So it's time to plant these. I've just soaked these overnight, so I'm just gonna pop them in, and then I'll use the sea salt solution to water them in. So they've all sunk to the bottom except for these 2, which I just found because I missed them, so they're obviously soaked up a lot of that juice, so we'll see how they go. So just with planting, I'm planting them so that this flat side is down, so it's like that. I'm planting them in rows of about 20 centimeters apart, and the actual cloves are about 10 to 15 centimeters away from each other. What I've done is a little trench, and I've just put the cloves into position, and then what I'll do is I'll just backfill them over. So I'm just going to lightly cover the soil with a bit of sugarcane mulch, just to sort of protect the soil, not too sort of dense, because I still want them to all pop up and not have any interference. So we'll just chuck this on. So we've got our first little guy up. So these ones are the sea salt soaked ones. These were planted a day after the non-sea salt soaked. Over here, not many. None of the Glen Large, actually. I can't see. Oh no, there's a little one there. But these were planted a day before the sea salt one. So I guess we'll kind of see as they grow which ones are going to be better. But got a few popping up. So here we are about a week and a half after we first planted them. So this side's the one that wasn't soaked in sea salt. They're doing pretty good. They were planted a day before the ones that were sea salt soaked. About the same pace, I reckon. But I guess we'll see. Can't wait to see how they go. I will report back when it's time to harvest these guys, but basically I'm just gonna let them do their own thing for a bit, grow, and hopefully we'll get a harvest in September. Okay, I think it's time for these to come out. So what I'm looking for come harvest time is one, that there's a bulb forming. For this particular variety, which is the Glen Large, and it's also the same for the Italian Pink, but basically I don't want them to fall over because that seems to be too far gone. So what I'm looking for is half of these leaves dried out. So if you sort of think about it, each of these leaves is a clove of garlic. So if these outer cloves dry out too much, they'll pop off and then they won't store very well. So basically I think we're ready to rock and roll. I turned off the irrigation on these probably about 3 weeks ago. So that's obviously helping with the drying out as well. But yeah, we've got some good looking ones, but I guess we'll see harvest time. So not a bad haul. I think we got about 90% of the cloves that we planted. I'll have to sit down and count them all out, but I think there's around about 65-ish. And most of the ones that didn't come up were the Italian Pink, so they're a lot smaller than the others. I don't know if it was because they were at the back and maybe not getting as much sun. But I was a bit worried that I had overplanted them and they weren't going to do as well. But this one's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Way better than last year. So this one's probably going to be our next year's seeds. So this is the final harvest. I'm not actually sure how much it weighs or how many cloves I've got exactly, but what I've done is I've tied them up and now I'm going to put them in an airy dry spot out of the sun to fully dry off and hopefully cure, ready for replanting next year and eating along the way. So we'll save our biggest for next year and we'll go again. I'm not sure I'll do the Italian Pink next year. Glen Large just seems to be reliable and grows the best for us. In terms of sea salt versus non-sea salt soaked cloves before planting, I don't think it made any difference to the end result. Some of our biggest cloves were actually in the section that weren't soaked in sea salt. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.